welcome to this week's dynamic practice. I'm calling it Futurama, and it deals with our ventral line. That's the front side of ourselves, shins across the knee, quads, and the front side of our torso. Addressing the ventral line, opening it up, includes backbends. We'll prep that work with the twists. And addressing our ventral line allows the reception of whatever the future has for us. We address the future with our front body, so it comes to us into our front body. So if our front body is open and receptive, the way I see it, we are more able to be into the flow of time and address things as they come along. For this practice, we're going to use a block and a strap, and we're also going to use some wall space for several things, including the option for a handstand, and we'll be using the wall space for lunge and final relaxation as well. So great, so let's start. Feel free to lie on our back. So you lie face up. Hands can be next to hips, arms relaxed for now. And feet ground gently into the floor. And as you inhale, you're going to arch your back and breathe into belly. So you're squeezing. This is spinal extension. This is our back bend in our spine on inhale. And then spinal flexion, you press the low back into the floor. That's a forward fold in our spine. So you go back and forth like this between these two states. Inhale, as you arch, breathe into belly. Exhale, press your low back into the floor. And repeat that at the pace of your breathing a few times here. Great, and twice more, breathe in, and big exhale. One last time, breath in, and exhale from there, release. Okay, great, and then from here, take our arms in wingspan, so the arms are out to the sides. Legs come together and step your left thigh on top of your right thigh. Okay, and as you inhale, so left thigh is on top of right thigh. As you inhale, you're going to turn your head to the right, reach your right arm to the right, and drop your knees to the left for a twist. At the top of your inhale here, you can also arch your back a little, and that's all on in-breath. And then as you exhale, you come back to center, and let's repeat this side a few times for a vinyasa twist. Inhale, head to right, knees to left, fingers reach out, arch, and then as you exhale, recoil back to center, and repeat this side a few more times. Notice the stretch on your side body, perhaps outer hips. If you're reaching your fingers out, you might also notice a heart center opening. So maybe front side of the ventral side of our arm, or the right chest. And one last time here. Take a deep breath in. All right, and then as you exhale, come back to center, feet flat on the floor, and take a deep inhale, exhale. Notice the after effects of that first twist. Deep breath in, big exhale. And let's try that on the other side. Right thigh on top of left. Every exhale, you'll relax to this spot. And as you inhale, knees drop to the right, head turns to left, and reach your left fingers to the left. That's all on inhale. Top of inhale, you can also arch your back. And then exhale, you come to center. And repeat this move several times on this side. So your knees to right, head to left, fingers reach out, breathe down your whole left side. Exhale, recoil and relax. And as we warm up our spine for back bends, notice any sensations, where are the stretches. So this might be side body. This might feel more like a twist than a side lengthening. This might be outer hip. And as you're reaching fingers out, you also might get a stretch across the left heart center. So the front side of our arms, palm side of our arms, connect to the chest. And one last time here, take a deep breath in. All right, and then exhale from there, come back to center. Again, notice inward. How's everything feeling so far? Great, we're going to lie on one side. We're going to curl up into a ball, and you can use your bottom arm as a pillow for the head. So this is what I call a slow kick of the football. You're going to extend your top leg out, and this is going to be a big back bend from toes to the crown of your head. You're going to point your toes, point your ankle, bend your knee, extend at hips and spine, and look behind you. So there's a big global extension on inhale, and it's a big global flexion on exhale. You open your toes, round your spine, and drive your heel out to straighten your leg. And go back and forth like this between these two states. So the inhale is global extension, exhale is global flexion. And we're warming up not only the back side of our bodies, but also the front side. As you inhale, notice if you're getting a quad stretch or stretch through the front of your hip. As you exhale, you'll engage your front body. You'll engage your ventral line. And let's try that one more time. Slowly kicking the football. Inhale's the wind up. Exhale, there's the kick and the follow through. Great. And relax on the back. Notice the after effects. All right. Notice more sensation, I hope, on the side we worked on. Great. And then switch sides. So you lie on your other side. You're in a fetal position. Bottom arm you can use as a pillow, or if you have a pillow, you can use that as well. And then from here, the top leg extends out, and the global extension includes like all the joints from the toes to the head. You can point your toes, point your ankle, bend your knee, extend at your hips and spine, and look behind you. So all that's on the inhale, big global extension, and then exhale, you press your heel out in front of you, round your spine and straighten your leg. And as you inhale, you are stretching the front side of your body. As you exhale, you're engaging the front side of your body. So notice what you can notice on the front side. Of course, this also engages your back body as well, right? As you exhale, I think most of us are feeling a hamstring stretch, calf stretch, also fine and good. But we can direct our attention to certain parts. And so for this practice, it's the front body, our ventral line. So does this side feel tighter in certain places? Is it more mobile in certain places? Inhale, you wind up to kick. Exhale, you kick the ball when there's follow through. And let's try this one more time. Deep breath in. Big exhale. All right. And then please lie on your back, face up. All right. Yeah, extend out. In Shavasana, press your heels forward as you open your toes. And as you exhale, point your toes forward and even try to point them down. So that's extra ankle and sole of the foot work. And do that 2 more times. Inhale, press your heels forward, sprout open your toes. And then exhale, it's like you're making a fist with your feet and point your toes down. And one last time. Inhale, press your heels out, open your toes. Exhale, point your toes forward and down. Okay, very good. So shift your hips to the right a little bit. Draw your right knee in, extend your left leg forward, and let's take this across for a twist. So first, static posture, Supta Matsyendrasana. As you inhale, arch your back a little bit, and exhale, roll your heart to the right. And if you can reach your right fingers out to the right, you can do that too. Head wherever it feels comfortable. And then breathe into side ribs, low back. Twists are really good precursors to back bends. So we're warming up the spine in twists. Deep breath in. Big exhale. And one last time, take a deep breath in. Okay, great. And then enjoy the recoil, uncoiling back into the center. Good, deep inhale in the middle. Big exhale. From here, let's shift our hips to the left. Left knee draws in, other leg extends forward. Inhale here, you can arch your back a little. And exhale as you take your knee over to the right. This is left knee across. You're going to arch your back and reach your left fingers out to the left as far as you can. So now this is a spinal twist to the left. Heart's facing over the left hip. Breathe into this. Breathe deeply. Have your breath facilitate the stretch as much as you can. And if you slide your left fingers out, you may notice connection from finger to heart center. You can breathe into that too. And one last time, breath in. Take a big exhale. All right, and then you come back to center. Uncoil, soften down, relax for a breath. Deep inhale into belly. And big exhale. Okay, great. And so we're going to come up to seated either on our heels or otherwise in some type of virasana. So ultimately, if this pose does not work, we're going to be doing some arm work. So you can also sit on a chair or sit higher than what the block would even facilitate. But you can either be here, hips on top of block. If the ankles hurt, add some support under ankles. And if it feels okay, you can sit on the heels or even sit in between the heels like this. So that's what I'll do for this practice today. But there's a couple moments here where we're warming up the knees, we're warming up the tops of the feet as well. So the front of our body really begins on the tops of our feet. So if this is too intense for the ankles, insert something underneath so they don't have to bend as much. But otherwise, we're warming up ankles, warming up tibialis anterior, as well as warming up the connective tissues that run across the patellar tendon. All right. So, and we'll be here for another 2 minutes or so, just to give you an ETA when we're getting out of this. We're going to take a couple arm practices, and the first one we're going to do is interlace your fingers and press your palms up toward the ceiling. Okay? And a couple of options here. You can always keep your arms bent and focus on pressing your knuckles up. That gives you a nice hand stretch without flexing the wrists a ton. So a lot of people, sometimes when people are tight, they let go of any action in their hands, and now they're just kind of hanging off the wrists. For me, I feel it's much more effective to bend your elbows a little bit and then press the knuckles up. And you see how that's, so now my wrists are actually pretty neutral. And I'm getting a hand stretch. And you focus on the hand stretch, and whatever's left over, you can press your arms up toward the ceiling. If none of this works with fingers interlaced, you can also use a strap and hold the strap between your hands. Okay? Press your palms up. Okay? How high your arms go depends on your shoulders. If it feels all right, draw your bottom ribs in a little, and then try to take your biceps back further. And this should give you a stretch on the top of the shoulders, into heart center, pec minor. Breathe thoracically. That means you draw your navel in a little bit and deposit the breath in the stretch of this pose. 2 more breaths. Take a big inhale, big exhale, and one last time. Take a deep breath in. Okay, great. And then exhale. Release from above. Interlace your fingers behind you. And if you can't bridge the gap, you can always use a strap between your hands. From here, you interlace the fingers or hold the strap, draw your shoulder blades into your back, lift your heart center a little, and then extend your biceps back. The tendency is to lock out arms. I invite you to bend your arms a little, engage your biceps, and then send your biceps back. For me, it gives a much better stretch across the heart center. And there's 3 more breaths. Breathe into your collarbones, breathe into the stretch. Take a deep breath in, big exhale, and deep breath in, Okay, great. And then exhale, release your hands, a couple shoulder blade rolls in one direction, a couple shoulder blade rolls in the other direction. Inhale, lift your lungs. Parshvavirasana. Exhale, you twist to the right. Opposite hand can come to right thigh. Back hand wherever you can reach. And 2 breaths here. Inhale as you lengthen. Exhale, twist. And that's on this side one more time. Inhale as you lengthen. Exhale, twist. And then you de-rotate, come back to center. Inhale as you lengthen. Exhale, twist to the left. So opposite hand comes to left thigh. Left arm goes behind you. Inhale as you lengthen. Exhale as you twist. And one more time on this side. And then we're out. Deep breath in. Big exhale. Okay. And then come forward. And then you take your time to come into hands and knees. You can remove the props underneath ankles and hips. And from hands and knees, extend one leg back and very gently engage the muscles around your knee and relax your knee a couple times. So there's some blood, lymph movement back into one knee. And after doing that several times on one side, you extend your other leg and you're going to engage the muscles around your knee and relax. Engage and relax. And do that a couple times. Okay, great. And from here we're going to lower down to the floor. So that warmed up basically the leg component of our ventral line. From here we're going to take some type of shalabhasana, where we're going to start with our hands underneath shoulders. And from here, the tendency is, if the quads and belly are tight, the tendency is for the tailbone to want to lift. So what I'd like you to do is press pubic bone into floor, and it's like you're trying to slide your glutes back. So it's actually an activity in your hamstrings. So slide your glutes back, and then from there, lift your lungs forward and up. Now, I don't care how high you go, but think glutes back, lungs forward. All right, and then how high you go, that's between you and your low back. I have a fair amount of back bend. That's just in my bones though. So go to where you can go. Make sure you're not over pressurizing your low back, and think less about the pressure, about sort of pushing into your low back, and more about sending the glutes back, leaving some space here, and then lengthening your lungs forward. All right, so this is a cobra. If you want to reach back into locust, you can do that too. Draw your shoulder blades into the back. So it's basically like your limbs are going back and your lungs are lifting forward. And there's 2 more breaths here. If this is too much, keep your hands down, lungs still forward. Take a deep breath in into collarbones. Okay, great. And then you lower down, come through hands and knees, and we're going to lift back into downward facing dog. So curl your toes under, upper thighs lift into downward facing dog. Several breaths here. If your heels don't get down, that's fine. Lift your sitting bones up, engage your quads, and upper thighs slide back. And then whatever kind of stretch you're going to get in your hamstrings and calves, you can get by pressing your heels back. All right, and so we're not going to do a ton of back body stretches today, but this is a big one for hamstrings, for calves, helps mobilize our ankles. Breathe into belly deeply, and several more breaths here. All right, take a deep breath in. All right, and then from downward facing dog, please come up to standing. So you can step forward, make your way up to standing. All right, I'm going to use a block for triangle, Uttita Trikonasana. So you can face me. I'm going to mirror you. So this is my left leg, but you'll be turning your right toes out to the right. Block to the outside of your right shin if you're using it. And then from here, so drive your feet through the floor. You're going to slide your front hip underneath the back hip, and then take your hand either to thigh, to shin, to the floor, or to a block. Okay. And you roll your navel up toward the ceiling. Reach your arm up toward the ceiling as well. Okay? So feet are pressing down, roll the belly up, and that should feel, hopefully it's stable in the hips. Navel's rolling up, you might feel a stretch in our low back. Okay? So from here, we're going to do an arm variation where you turn your palm, it's 90 degrees toward the hips, and then another 90 degrees away from you. And from here, you're going to take your top hand, take the back of your hand to your low back as best you can. And I'm going to turn around so you can see what I'm doing. So back a hand to a lumbar spine. And then from here, the fingers slide down as you roll your heart up. Some of you might be able to hold front thigh, but that's an option. That's not a requirement. You don't have to. As long as you're sliding your hand down and rolling your heart up, last few breaths, breathe into the tip of your top lung. So tip top of the left lung, left collarbone. Breathe into it to open up the top of our ventral line. And 2 more breaths. Take a big inhale. Exhale. And one last time, breath in. Okay, great. Top hand onto hip. You can bend your knees a little bit if you want to come up like that. Some stability there, good. Bend your knees to switch sides. So now your left toes are pointing to the left. I'm going to take a block over the outside of my left shin. All right, so left toes are forward. From here, hand to hip, and you're going to cut your front hip underneath the back and send your lungs out. Okay. Hands go to either thigh, shin, to the floor, or I'll demonstrate with the block. All right, so yeah, nice and solid in our feet. Drive your feet down, and roll your navel up, roll your navel up, roll your navel up, roll your navel up. Okay, great. So navel's rolling up toward the ceiling, arm can reach up toward the sky as well. Okay. And you're going to keep everything else more or less the same, but you're going to turn your top palm away from you, away from your face, and then behind you, and now you take the back of your hand toward your lumbar spine, like the kidney area. Okay. Inhale here, and as you slide your hand behind you toward your front thigh, you're going to roll your heart up. This is a little bit more of a twist. It's also a big opener for top lung. That would be your right lung. So you open up, peel open right lung. Breathe into right collarbone several times. So it's big thoracic breath. Inhale. Exhale. Yeah, and this side might be tighter. It might be more open than the first side. The twist might be a bigger twist or a smaller twist. Your arm might not go down as far or might go even further. Go to where you can go. Honor the limits of your shoulders. And this pose is as much breath as it is posture. So breathe into top collarbone 2 more times. Take a deep breath in. Big exhale. And a deep breath in. Okay, great. And then from there, you release hand to hip. Drive your feet through the floor. And then inhale, you can come all the way up. All right, and then a wide-legged fold. This is going to be a fold at our hips. You bend your knees a little bit, and you can take lungs forward, heel back, or thighs back, lungs forward. And I'm going to demonstrate with the block, because what I think is helpful, I don't want a forward fold because we're going in toward back bends. So what I'd like to do is to keep the front side of the spine long, sitting bones back. And then from here, you're going to lengthen lungs forward. Your left hand's going to stay on the block. Your right arm reaches out to the right. Inhale here. And then exhale, you're going to roll your belly to the right. And if it's available, what we did in triangle, you can do with your top arm here as well. So you turn your palm behind you, reach behind you, and try to reach your fingertips toward the floor. So this is going straight down toward the floor. Some of you may also find it's helpful to hold your left thigh here. But as you reach your back arm down, your lungs are rolling up toward the ceiling. Spine's in a twist. Breathe into the whole thing. 2 more breaths. Take an inhale. Exhale and twist. And take a deep breath in. All right, exhale, extricate the arm, hand back down to block, and we're gonna lengthen up through the spine. We're now gonna twist to the left. So right hand on block, left arm out to the left. Inhale here, exhale, you twist to the left, which means your left arm reaches up toward the ceiling as best you can. Good. Inhale, you arch your back, lengthen up through the lungs, and you're gonna turn your palm beyond your hips and behind you, and bring the back of your left hand to your lumbar spine. From there, slide your fingers toward the floor to roll your heart up toward the ceiling. And so the pose is doing a significant amount of work. Our breath can do a significant amount of work too. So deep inhales and exhales into the top left corner of your torso. Left shoulder blade, the shoulder girdle, left chest, left collarbone. The apex of your left lung. 2 more breaths. Take a big inhale, big exhale. And one last time, breath in. Okay, great. And then from there, you derotate, come back to center, hands to the block, and you bend your knees, heel toe yourself closer together, and inhale, come up to Tadasana. All right, very good. So glutes slide down a little, and that will help lift your lungs up. Okay? Especially if the hamstrings aren't working, the tendency is for the glutes to sort of lift. So notice how much longer my ventral line gets if I slide my glutes down, and now I can lift and stand a little bit taller on the front side. Okay? So it's this work, glutes down, lungs up, that we're going to do one of 2 ways. First is a supine handstand, which in both of these instances you'll need wall space. So the first instance is you take your hands to the wall, and I'm looking for a palm stretch again. You don't need to bring your wrists to the wall. Okay, if that hurts your wrists, you can think more about getting the hands stretched out rather than bending the wrists severely. And from here, you're going to draw your shoulder blades into the back, roll your elbow points in, and then you extend your legs and slide your glutes away from the wall as you sort of open your lungs toward the wall. And that's supine handstand. Okay? And all those cues happen in handstand as well. So if handstand is not in your routine today, start with the supine work. If you want handstand against the wall, you're going to take fingers about 2-3 inches away from the wall, okay? And you might need a couple test runs. So I usually lift one leg up, and I come back to the wall, okay? So if you can get up there, that's great. Drive your hands through the floor. And then from here, you're going to slide your glutes up toward the ceiling. So heels still stay on the wall. We're not worried about the balance. I'm really worried about getting this activity to lengthen the whole pose. So you're sliding your glutes skyward. Helps open up the front body. And of course, with an open front body, you can take deep breaths, which your body really needs right now, because it's very vigorous, very dynamic. If you're on the floor, press into the wall more, slide your heels a little further out and slide your glutes. If you're in a handstand, heels up the wall, slide your heels up another 1/2 inch, slide your glutes up. 2 more breaths here. Take a big inhale, big exhale. All right, one last time. Breathe in. Okay, and then from there you can come out of that. Take a child's pose. If you are in a handstand, if you were in the supine handstand, you can come up to standing in Tadasana. All right, and then so for those who are in handstand, after a couple breaths to equalize the rush of blood in the head, we're gonna come up to standing. Here's Tadasana. Glutes slide down, lungs lift, and our arms are sweeping up overhead. Roll your elbow points inward and lift for more length through the torso, and then you sit down. So here's our Utkatasana. Tendency in this pose is for the glutes to want to lift. So even here, you drive your heels into the ground, slide your glutes down. You might feel like your pubic bone comes forward a little, and then you're gonna lift your lungs up. So it tends to be kind of like a lot of sway back and the arms are out. If you roll arms in and slide your glutes down a little, the front body actually, it's a more stable extension along the front side of our spines. And there's 2 more breaths here. Take a deep breath in. Exhale, maybe sink down another ½ inch. Take a deep breath in. Okay, great. And then you press your hips forward to come up to Tadasana. All right, very good. So, Anjalayasana is next, and we're going to use the wall space. This is lunge. Anjalayasana is lunge. What we're going to do, I'm going to take my right toes up on my baseboard. So we're going to use the wall, and we're going to use a block for this. The block is going to go in between the knee and the wall. And then I'm going to step back. Actually, here, there. That's the better way to do it. Okay, so foot's on the ground, and what the block allows you to do is to not focus on all that strength. So chair pose is rough, right? And this is chair pose in lunge. But if the block is here, it helps ease off the front leg, and now I can really work the back leg. So I want to do that. So we're in lunge. Lunge, Anjalayasana means the heel is up. And from here, hands to glutes. The tendency is for the glutes to lift here. This is a really big back bend already, okay? What I invite you to do is from here, you bend your back knee. Bend your back knee quite a bit. And then from here, now you can slide your glutes down and lift your lungs a little higher. So glutes down, lungs up, and keep the height of your lungs as you repress your back heel back. And my hope is that gives you a stretch. So my right foot's forward. So my hope is that you're getting a stretch down your left leg through left hip up through your lungs. Now breathe into that big ventral line stretch on your left side. 2 more breaths. Take a big inhale, big exhale, and one last time. Breath in. Okay, very good. You can hold the block as you come back up to standing. And before we do the other side, slide your glutes down, lift your lungs up, and hopefully it feels like one glute slides down a lot more easily. So the glute of the back leg that we just worked on. Great. So glutes down, lungs lift. Let's try that on the other side. So from here, I'm going to set my left toes to the wall, place the block between knee and wall. So that's chair pose on this side. The block means the leg doesn't have to keep itself going, so this quad can actually take a break. All right, and now we can focus on the back leg, which the heel is up off the floor. So we're not in warrior with the heel down, heels up. All right, and from here, so you press your heel back gently. Notice what you can notice. Hands on hips, and the tendency is for the glutes to want to lift and us to kind of stick into our low back. So from here, what I invite you to do, you're going to bend your back knee, pause there. Hands to the thigh, or hands to glutes, and you're going to slide your glutes down and lift your lungs up. All right, so glutes down, lungs up. Keep those engagements as you re-extend your back leg. And I'm hoping for a big, fruitful stretch from the back leg up through belly, up through heart center. Breathe into your right side as much as you can. Energetically, the glutes slide down. Energetically, the lungs lift. And one more time. Take a deep breath in. Big exhale. Okay, great. And then you can take hold of the block. Again, come up into standing Tadasana, mountain pose. Drive your heels down, slide your glutes down, and lift your lungs up. And my hope is it feels there's some engagement on your back body, which allows the front body to blossom open. All right. Great. So I'm going to place the block on the floor. We're going to lower down, and option number 1 is to take what we did before our standing practice. You come up, glutes back, lungs forward, and you can be in cobra, okay? If you wanted to exercise your low back, you can do locust. From here, if you want to come into upward facing dog, biceps engaged, draw your shoulders back, and slide your glutes back, okay? So it's glutes back, shoulders back, biceps back, and then you lift your lungs forward and up. And see if you can do this without locking out the arms. You see what just happened? I'm really kind of caving in my heart center. So I unlock my arms, engage my biceps, and then from here, the entire bicep line slides back, and it's almost like I'm trying to drag myself forward. Okay, so this is a really, really robust pose. Press your feet down, glutes slide back, lungs forward, and however high you go, that's between you and your low back. The idea here is as the glutes slide back, as your lungs go forward, there's no compression in your low back, and you can breathe into your ventral line deeply. 2 more times. Take a deep breath in, big exhale, and 1 last time. Take a deep breath in. Okay, and then knees come down, belly comes down, head comes down or to one side. All right. So we're lying on our ventral line. Notice the expansion of our ventral line. Front body. Breathe in the belly. Very good. So let's come up into Sphinx pose. And this is a precursor for half frog, Ardha Bakasana. Back a little bit. So, just like an upward facing dog, the tendency is for this. Okay? There's nothing inherently wrong with it, it's just not a big ventral stretch. So you're going to draw your shoulder blades into your back. Lengthen your lungs forward. Okay? And there's this general sense that we're trying to drag ourselves forward on the mat. Okay? And that's helped by sending your glutes back. You can also think about it as pressing your pubic bone down. So when our ventral line's on the floor, pubic bone down is really the same cue as glutes back. Okay? So from here, you're going to bend your right knee, and the toes are going to point up toward the ceiling. Okay? If you want to, take your left hand a little bit more in the center, and that will allow you to reach your right arm back. Okay? So this is a big shoulder practice. This is also a big knee practice. If either of these don't work holding your foot, you can always bridge the gap with a strap. Okay? Or just stay in this pose and bend your knee. Press your hip down. Okay? You can hold the foot. You're going to listen to your knee as you draw your foot toward the floor. Okay? So this is a ventral line stretch on the top of an ankle, tibialis anterior, across the patellar tendon of the knee, quad, and then we're going to include the top half of our ventral line as well. So glutes back, lungs forward and up. And the tendency here is if the hips are tight, right hip's going to want to lift, press your hip down, and then send your glutes back, lungs forward. And just make sure that we're not compressing low back. We're actually trying to lift up out of it. 3 more breaths here into your right hip. Okay, you can deactivate, you can relax your cues, let go of the leg, and curl your toes under. Press your heels back as if your legs were in plank. And there's a couple breaths here. Nice. Take a deep breath in. Okay. And then from here, let's come up to Sphinx pose. Lungs forward. Glutes back, pubic bone down. That whole, it's basically a posterior tilt of the hips. glutes back, lungs forward. And from here, option number 1 is to bend your left knee and stay here and work on the structure here. Option number 2, you want to reach back with your left hand, hold the foot. You can also bridge the gap with a strap. And option number 3, if you wanted to take your foot closer to the ground. Okay, so we sat in Virasana at the beginning of this practice. This is basically the same shape of our legs in Virasana, right? The ankles are doing a lot of flexing here. The knee's doing a lot of flexing. So we're stretching ankle, shin, kneecap. We're going to continue that stretch. Slide your glutes back. Press your pubic bone down, and also press your left hip down. That gets your quad origin right in front of the hips. And then as your glutes slide back, lengthen your lungs forward. For Ardha Bakasana, a lot of global extension on our left side here. Breathe into it. Double check low back. Tendency might be to kind of bunch up. There's some engagements we can do. Glutes back, lungs forward to help support the structure of our lumbar spine. So we're not compressing too much. 2 more breaths here. Inhale. Big exhale. And one last time. Breathe in. Okay, great. So relax your cues. Let go of the energy of the pose as you release your legs. Toes down, toes curl under, and then press your heels back as a counter for your knees. All right. Great. And then from here, you're going to bend both knees. And this is option number 1 for Dhanurasana, bow pose. Glutes back, lungs forward. And as best you can, you press your heels up. Maybe you can try to lift your thighs a little. Okay. Option number 2, it might be hard with a strap, but I think it might be possible to sort of bridge the gap here around ankles. And we're going to lift like this. Okay. So that's option number 2. And option number 3 is you're going to hold outside of feet, like the outer ankles. So my palms are facing one another. We're holding outer ankles. Draw your shoulder blades in, glutes back, lungs forward, and then you press into your hands, lift your lungs forward and up. The tendency here is to lock out elbows, a tiny bend, and then send your shoulders back, lungs forward. And there's 3 more breaths here. Take an inhale, big exhale. Breathe into ventral side. So belly and heart, exhale. And one last time, breathe in. Okay, great. And then exhale, you come back down, head to one side or down. Breathe into belly a few times. So I have a lot of rolling options right now. So just to quickly redo it. Option number 1 is here. You're pressing pubic bone down, thighs up. Option number 2 is to use the strap. Option number 3 is to do what we just did. For what's called side bow, you're going to take hands, instead of holding the outside ankle, you're going to hold inside ankle. Now that tends to want to wing out your feet, so you also have to squeeze your legs a little closer together. You see how much more heart opening this is as well? And then from here, you're going to lift up, 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 up. And if you want to stay here, this is Dhanurasana with the arm option. Parshva, it's almost like you accidentally fall, and what you're going to do is pin one shoulder down and peel the other arm, the shoulder back and up. So you're not only stretching ventral from the top to the bottom, you're also trying to stretch from shoulder to shoulder across heart center. And there's 2 more breaths on one side. Take a deep breath in. Big exhale. Breathe in. Come back to the center. You have to roll back, perhaps a little bit awkwardly. Lift, and then Parshva Dhanurasana on the other side. Pin the other shoulder down, and the opposite shoulder is going to peel back and up. Glutes away from lungs, lungs away from glutes. Breathe into the heart center as big as you can. All right, and then you make your way back into Dhanurasana. You lift. Take a deep breath in the heart center. And exhale from there. Release. Head to one side or forehead down. Breathe into the low back. All right. Great. So we're going to come up to hands and knees and up on our knees, like here. Okay, so we're going to work on camel next. This work, if the knee's on the floor, if this doesn't work for you, this pose can be done standing. And just as a quick, so we're going to be taking the glutes down, lungs up, and so this is a standing camel. Okay, obviously you should not be able to touch your feet. That's like one of the cues, but your glutes can stay down, lungs lift, and this is a phenomenal ventral line stretch. Okay, option number 2 is you take your knees down, glutes. So whether your knees are on the floor or you're standing, hands onto glutes, slide your glutes down, lift your lungs up. Okay, and when we were on the floor, face down, the pubic bone was pressing into the floor. Now pubic bone has to press forward. So it doesn't matter how far it goes, just the activity of trying to press pubic bone forward helps decompress our low back, which means now we can lift our lungs up. Okay? You gotta stay here. If it makes sense for you to do it, reach one hand down, other hand down. The idea here is if your hands are on the feet, you're almost like trying to lift up out of it. So rather than sinking back into camel, it's almost like you're holding on your feet so you don't lift up higher. So pubic bone forward, lift your lungs, and it's almost like you're tractioning your arms, almost like you're being like there's a big gale, like you're a sail of a sailboat. These are blown up and out. Breathe into ventral line. And then just sort of almost like letting go of the sail, you let go of your feet, and inhale, you kind of come up, and exhale, you can sit back in Virasana. Okay? If you're standing, let's come back down, and from camel, we'll lie on our back. Okay? Okay, and if you've been to any of my classes, I'm sure you know where this is going. Our options are bridge or upward facing bow pose. Let's all do bridge first. You're going to drive your feet through the floor, and to pick up both into bridge and wheel, slide your glutes forward, and you're going to press your pubic bone up toward the ceiling. All right, and if you're going to stay in bridge, you can press your forearms into the ground and more specifically engage your biceps and press your entirety of the biceps into the floor. Okay? If you're going to prep for the upward wheel, plant your hands next to your hips and draw your shoulder blades into your back as well. So glutes forward, lungs lift. And there's 2 more breaths here. Take a big inhale, big exhale. And one last time, breathe in. Okay, great. And then exhale, you come back to the floor. Release. So that's option number 1, is just do bridge again. Option number 2, in upward facing wheel, you're going to slide your glutes forward. And all this activity, the activity doesn't stop. Even though the pose stops moving in place, the activity is still pressing. So the glutes are always sliding away from lungs, pubic bones always lifting up. And plant your hands next to your head. Shoulder blades squeeze in. If you want to, you can push your hands down and lift up into sort of a pre-bow with your head on the ground. If it's available, you press your pubic bone up. And it's like your legs and arms lean away. Glutes away from lungs, lungs away from glutes, and breathe ventrally as much as you can. So it's belly breath followed by chest breath. And there's 3 more breaths here. Big inhale, big exhale, breath in, big exhale, and one last time, breathe in. Tuck your chin, look up at the ceiling so you don't land on the top of your head. You're going to land on your shoulders to come back down. Now we're in bridge. You lower into bridge. All right, nice. Sacrum's in the ground. Press your mid-back into the floor. So it's basically the bottom ribs here. You can feel hands to bottom ribs. Press this part of our ribs into the floor. So it's not low back into the floor. Low back is naturally curved, but sacrum's in the ground, natural neutral curve in low back, mid-back presses down. And then from here, you can take upward facing chair or supine chair. Okay, that's option number 1. Supta Dandasana is option number 2, where you press your heels up toward the ceiling. Now that tends to want to bottom out the low back. I invite you to keep some activity in your low back, press your mid-back down instead. So we did a lot of back bending today. What I'm trying to do is bring energy back into the middle, into our core line. You press the heels up, open your toes like we did in the slow kick of football. And there's another 3 or 4 breaths here. So mid-back down, drive heels up, quads are engaging, shins are engaging, psoas is working hard. And one last breath here. Great. And then exhale, release. Feet flat on floor. Great. And then from here, let's get our strap. And we're going to take the strap around right foot. Right leg goes up in the air. Press your heel up, open your toes. And then from here, extend your other leg along the ground. So Supta Pada 1, you're going to press your heel up, right heel presses up, left heel presses forward. Shoulder blades away from our ears. And like I said earlier, we're not doing this practice did not include a lot of stretch for our back body, but as a counter, I'd like to do that here. But even while we're getting a stretch here in hamstring and calf, notice the length and the open space along the front side of our body from like left quad through left hip, all the way up through heart center. And enjoy it. We'll hold this another 30 seconds. Great, so one last inhale here. And as you exhale, you can let go of your right leg, extend it forward and pause. Notice what you can notice. Great, and then we'll take the strap around our left toes, left foot. You're going to press your left heel up, right leg extends forward for Supta Pada 1 with left leg up. And of course, there's stretching the calf, maybe behind the knee, maybe in hamstring. Note it and make sure it feels okay. It's like a productive stretch for you today. But from here, mind's eye goes to our ventral line. It's the front side of our right leg, up through the front side of our torso. And notice the expansiveness and the openness of our ventral line here. here. And big exhale, you will let go. You can remove the strap. Extend both legs out. Pause there for a moment. All right, and then from here, you can, with feet on the floor, you can hug knees into chest. So now we're going to finally round our spine a little in Vyamuktasana. In this one, if you'd like, draw your navel in a little bit, and as you exhale, lift your head and shoulders. So it's almost like, so you're actually using your ventral and using your abs to lift, and then inhale, come back down. So we have not done a lot of this, the flexion of our spine. We have not done a lot of it in this particular practice. And that should feel interesting as a counter. All right. And then you place your head on the ground, feet together, knees wide. In Supta Baddha Konasana, last pose before Shavasana. Arms can be out to the sides. And we did a lot of lengthening along the front body from bottom to top. This also allows lengthening from left to right, right to left, both across heart center and across the front of our hips. Another 30 seconds here. Starting to soften down, energetically preparing for final relaxation. So from here you can extend one leg followed by your other leg. Soften down, soften in for our Shavasana, final relaxation. You can stay here in Shavasana. If you'd like, you can take the block, feet on the floor, lift the block underneath hips, and also take your legs up in the air. There's also an option for you to place your legs against the wall as well. So if you want to use some wall space, feel free to park your hips against the wall, legs up the wall, and then place your block underneath. I'm demonstrating at this mid-level. If you want the lower level, it's easier to relax the lower it is. And we'll be here 3 or 4 minutes. So if you're in Shavasana, everything can completely relax. If you're in this pose, Viparita Karani, keep the legs up with as little effort as possible. And regardless of what pose you're in, notice the softening of the heart center. Relax your heart center wide and soft. We did a lot of work expanding heart center today. So allow your heart center to relax. And also allow your belly to widen and relax. Every now and then, you might take an intuitively deep cleansing breath. Otherwise, you can notice your body breathing itself. All right. Very good. So if your legs are up in the air or up on the wall, bend your knees and place your feet on the wall or on the floor. And gently press into the wall or floor. Lift your hips up. Slide your block out from underneath your hips and lower down. If you're in Shavasana, wiggle fingers, wiggle toes. Make some micro adjustments around hips, spine, shoulders. And we can all meet back on our mats. Draw right knee into chest. Right knee into chest. Sweep a breath across your low back. Big inhale and exhale here. Followed by other knee. Draw it in. Switch sides. Hug your left knee into chest. Sweep a breath across low back. And then draw both knees in. Take a big inhale. And exhale, roll over to one side. And so pause on your side. Take a deep inhale and exhale. And then you can make your way back up to seated. Comfortable seat, cross-legged or otherwise, for a very short meditation and noticing practice. So you come to a comfortable seat. You can even do this in a chair. Allow your legs to relax. So let your feet settle. Let your legs settle. And allow your sitting bones to drop into whatever you're sitting on. Floor, prop, chair. then from here, very gently draw the top of your sacrum into your body, just a millimeter or two, and notice the length and the width of your navel center. Relax your shoulders away from your ears, and no more than 2 or 3% effort, very gently draw your shoulder blades into your back. It might not even move you, but my hope is there's a little bit of support from the back that allows your heart center to open wide and open long. So feel the length of the ventral side of your torso, belly, heart center open. And for the last minute of our practice, notice that from moment to moment to moment to moment, you are consistently present. The future is arriving moment to moment to moment. And with an open heart, open belly, invite each moment in, over and over again. Okay. Very good. Thank you so much for your practice. I hope this was challenging. I hope it feels refreshing, and I hope it feels comforting that we can confidently be in the flow and aware of all of our present moments as the future is coming through us and with us. So thank you so much. Stay well. Namaste.